Hello everybody. So today I'm going to replace this old fireplace screen with a new set of glass fireplace doors. This also has a screen built on the inside. And this actually only works for, obviously this is a masonry fireplace. You can't have a prefabricated fireplace and use aftermarket doors like this, but basically I'm going to walk you through the process. These are the Fillmore doors by Pleasant Hearth. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through the whole process. So then the first thing that we're going to do is actually, this comes obviously with a whole kit and a whole manual. And part of this kit is a couple sets of these handles. And so the handles are going to allow you to actually work on the door a little bit easier. So with this, you're going to need a pair of gloves because we're going to be dealing with fiberglass insulation, a pair of scissors just to cut apart some of the pieces that are in here, a tape measure to determine the correct size for your fireplace, and just a standard screwdriver. This one has adjustable bits, so I use both the flathead and the Phillips head on this one. Now basically I'm going to install the insulation that goes on the back of this, and that's to prevent any heat loss and any damage to these doors from the back. This is the bag of insulation that they gave you. So I'm just gonna, it's fiberglass insulation, so I'm just going to put my gloves on just so I don't get irritated. And just be very careful not to touch your face at all while you're doing this. And basically there's two different sizes of this. There's going to be a 2-inch strip, which is this one, and a 3-inch strip, which is this one. And in those two different strip lengths, they're going to peel apart. So these are your 3 strips. If you need to like split it up anymore, you could, but this really should be all that you need. So I'm going to start off with a 3-inch strip, and this is the top piece. I'm just going to stuff this in behind here and fill in this whole section in behind the top of the frame. Then below that, I'm going to take a 2-inch strip and do the same exact thing. You want to fill it in. This is to protect the metal itself. It's to protect you when you're operating it so that you don't, if you accidentally touch the metal, you're not going to hurt yourself. But try not to pull on it too much because it may start to shred apart. But you want this to be fluffy. You don't want this to be packed in there. So if it is like, you know, it's probably not going to be perfect. So if it is a little bit tight while you put it in there, it might be worth taking it out, giving it a quick trim with the with your scissors, and then using what is remaining. So here I'm going to take my 3-inch strips, and put these on the side. Here and here. Obviously, I don't know if you can see that, but this is going to be a little bit too long. So I'm just going to take my scissors and give that a quick trim. Make sure that is in there nicely. Now for this one, just make sure at the bottom there's a little bracket that's going to hold this in. It's also used to tie this into the frame of the fireplace, but just make sure it's tucked in there before you start trimming it, because it could be a little bit longer than it looks. Trim that off and stuff that down there. So now you have 2 extra little pieces, and then finally this last piece is going to go on the bottom down over here. And like all the other ones, you just want to stretch this out. Make sure that it is tucked in well and that it's not bunched up. If anything, you want this very lofty You don't want this compressed at all, because then that actually hurts the insulation ability of the fiberglass. Just tuck that in there. Perfect. So this, the back of this, all the exposed pieces are insulated. This comes with a spreader bar, so if you needed a little bit more space top to bottom, you can put the spreader bar in, and then you have this extra piece of insulation to put in there. My fireplace doesn't require it, but if it does, I'll show you what measurements you need to take, basically to determine if your fireplace is going to need the spreader bar or not. So with these models, basically all you need to do to determine if you're going to need the riser bar is you have to, this is the large model, you have to measure from bottom to top, bottom of the opening to the top of the opening. Right now I'm reading at about 29 1/4, but the measurement says if it is anything greater than 30 3/4 of an inch, then you will actually have to add the riser bar just so that it gives a little bit more coverage. Now, my measurement width-wise is 36 inches on the dot. A little help from Luna over here. We're at 36 inches to be exact. So that is actually on the smaller side for the large model of this, but I figured I have so much surface area to cover here and here that it would give it a little bit better of a reveal. So we got the large model. So the next thing you need to do is set up these brackets. So these are the pieces that come in. They're just held together with a simple screw. So basically this is going to slide into the slot on the back of the top over here, and then twist. And then this is going to go back on, or go on the back of the lintel bar. So as this clamps down, that is basically what is going to hold that in place. Right here is the lintel bar, and I have obviously my bracket right here. So what I'm going to do is I want this little piece right here to go up and under the lintel bar. So what you'll have to do is loosen up the screw that is right here so that this hooks on the front of that. So I'm going to do that right now. Slide that up and then slide it back. Tighten this down. Then I'm just going to take the thumb screw right here and hand tighten this until it's making contact with the back of that brick. Whew. That's what you call an ab workout, trying to hold this up. But you want to make it so it's making contact with the back of the brick, but it's not, or the back of the lintel bar, excuse me, but it's not so tight that it is penetrating into it. So as you can tell here, this is nice and tight. Just give it a few hand tightens, or hand twists, so it's on there nice and tight. Maybe one more, and then that should be good. Now on to the next one. Okay, so this last step, this piece right here, you basically take this bracket and you slide it. As you can see, it's bent a little bit, and there's a couple holes back there, and you slide them in and over, and then you tighten the screw until it makes tight contact with the brick, but you don't want this to start gouging into the actual brick itself, because you could risk cracking it. So as I tighten this down, I start to feel pressure build. And that's about it. It's hand tight, but it's not so over tightened that it's going to dig in and crack the actual brick itself. So this is nice and tight. As you can tell, I'm rocking with my hand. This isn't going anywhere. So this is what it looks like installed. Obviously, you know, this is only held on by brackets, so this is going to have a little bit of give. Like, no matter how tight those brackets are on there, it's going to have a little bit of give. Don't be frightened by that. But don't go like pulling on it or anything like that. So as I close the doors, obviously you want to remove your warning label here. Give them a nice clean. And your new fireplace doors are ready to use. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.